statement, and then question. Remember, when you have microphones, so please raise your hand if you recognize the microphone before you ask.
All right. Disappointing game. Disappointing season. I think everybody in that locker room is hurting, again, it's unacceptable here at Florida State. I said it before. We got a program that prides itself on winning, and we didn't get it done. Like I say, very disappointed in just the way we performed today and throughout the year. We didn't get it done, But we can grow from it, and we will grow from it. And I was brought here to get this program back right, and that's what we will do, is get it back right.
Coach, with the bowl streak and now the season over with, where do you go from here with the program and the football team?
We go back to work. We got recruiting. This contact period is coming up, and we got to get out recruiting starting tomorrow and make sure we're getting some really good football players in here to help us turn the program back around.
Coach, I'm sure it was tough in the locker room. Basically, how tough was it? I mean, you've been in some tough situations before with players, a lot of seasons coming to an end. What was that like in there?
It was really tough because of what was at stake, and nobody in that locker room wanted to be a part of that team that breaks the bowl streak, so it was really tough, and a lot of tears, and guys were hurt. We wanted to get it done, and we didn't. So it's frustrating, disappointed, and again, guys are hurt.
Coach, what can you say to the effect of guys like Naquan Murray, Jacquez Patrick, Alec Eberle? It's their last game for many of them. What did you say to them? What can you say about their efforts this season?
I told them I love them. I appreciate them. They didn't ask for this change, but they bought into what we asked them to do, and those guys, they fought all year to try to help us get the program back right. And I appreciate every single one of them for that, because, again, I wasn't the coach that brought them here, but they love this place and they bought into it. And, again, I'm disappointed that we didn't finish it the way we wanted to for those guys.
Willie, in the second half, the game was still close, and you guys had a penalty after a play that extended a drive in Week 12. How frustrating is that? I mean, from a guy that's played well this season.
Oh, it's very frustrating. It's kind of like throughout the year when we had our struggles, we do things that cause you to lose ball games like that. It's third down, we get ready to get them off the field, and then we're not tough enough to walk away. And that's what we got to be. That's what good football teams do. And we didn't do that. And again, you look at some of the games that we lost, and the way we lost is we were undisciplined. We didn't do the things we needed to. We weren't tough enough to walk away when someone pushes us up, shove us. And that's something we got to learn to do.
Willie, how far do you feel you guys have to go to get to where you want this program to be?
Personally, I don't think it's as far as it may look. I think part of it is where we're at in our program, and our program never been in this situation before. So it's something we all going through. I've been through something like this. No one here really has. So that part of it is frustrating, but we have some pieces in place, but I think we all see our areas of where we need help, and then we got to fix those things.
Coach, you obviously with this game, you finished 0-3 against the rivals, 0-2 against the in-state rivals. Just how important is it to fight and take back this state after losing this year?
No, it's very important, and everything we do need to be towards winning the state back and winning those games. That's, again, like I say, we have a private program, and that's what we all here for, is to live up to those expectations that we have here. And it's important that, starting with me, starting tonight, that I evaluate everything from me, our staff, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and making sure we get it back to the way we all want it around here, and we will.
Penalties have kind of been a theme at times this season. There weren't too many today. There weren't for too much yards today, but just how untimely were they? The illegal shift, wiping out Cam's touchdown, and a couple false starts on key third downs.
Well, those are the penalties that I talked about before. Is those are selfish penalties. When you false start, that's selfish. That's something you got to do as an individual to make sure that doesn't happen. And those things have killed us throughout the season, you know, and we got to make sure that we look at within ourselves as coaches and what we're asking them to do, but making sure that we have the players that can do it and get it done consistently enough. But it's frustrating because they do come at the wrong time, and we end up beating ourselves, or we playing behind the sticks and can't get anything going. So again, it's disappointing. We got to correct it.
Coach, how excited are you to have a full recruiting cycle? You were hired with just a couple of months to go until National Signing Day, picked up that class very well. How excited are you now to have a full cycle to go for?
Well, I think it's really important. You know, again, being here for a year and understanding Florida State and everything that goes into it and what kind of kids we want in this program is very important. You know, when I first got here, you didn't know anything. You just had to go out and find some guys. But I know a lot about our program now, and so it makes it not necessarily easy, but you understand what you need and go out and try to find those pieces that you need. We have to find those pieces that we need, but again, make sure that we're not just recruiting stars, but we recruiting good football players, good students, you know, good people that come in here that's highly motivated, you know, and that really want to be winners. You know, we got to make sure that we're doing that, and you do that by going in and going to their homes and finding out everything you can about them and not just off of film.
Willie, offensive line obviously was a challenge all season. How much can you revamp an offensive line, that particular position, in one season?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with recruiting. I think a lot of it has to do with developing. I think there's some guys that played probably weren't necessarily ready yet, and this experience is going to help them going forward. And some guys are going to have a weight room, another year in the weight room that's going to make them bigger, stronger, and faster. And then, like I said, recruiting, you got to go out and recruit the pieces you need to help you get to where you need to go. And so that's going to be a big part of what we're doing.
Coach, on that recruiting note, with this situation being how it is and coming off of a losing season that could, you know, scare off some recruits, is finding guys who don't get deterred by that kind of thing and kind of buy into the program kind of an important thing for you?
Yeah, and I don't think it's I know from the outside you might think that because of the way the season is that things won't happen right. Like I say, I've done this before, and we've had really good recruiting classes after a bad year, but I think a lot of us recruiting guys that want to be here and recruiting the right guys. And I think we have a lot of guys that want to be here, and there's a lot of other guys that want to be here. We got to make sure that it's the right guy. And again, we're at Florida State. You know, there's a lot of kids that want to play here. We got to make sure we're getting the right kids, and not just any kid that want to be here. So we're going to work. We're going to work, and we're going to find the right guy to come in here and help us.
Coach, most of your losses this year, they haven't been close. It seems like when you guys get down, it just continues to pile on. Why do you think that is?
A lot of it's mentally, you know, and that's part of changing the culture and to get to that point. You know, I said it at the beginning of the year, and the thing I was concerned about with our football team is how we deal with adversity. You know, and I seen that from afar, that we didn't handle that well. And that's a big part of our problem is when things don't go our way, then we didn't respond the right way. We had times where we did this year, and good things happened to us, but there's other times where we didn't, and it was just like the wheels rolled, we fell off. So a big part of it is, again, our mentality and how we deal with things when they get tough.
Coach, those 28 points given up in the second half, was that more defensive deficiencies being out of place, not in the right spot, or was it Felipe Franks doing something better in the second half than he was in the first?
I think it was a little bit of everything. I think it was a little bit of coaching. I think it was a little bit of tackling. Guys being what he's supposed to be. I think it was just everybody's made mistakes. You know, coaches, players, we all made mistakes in this ball game, and that's what happened when you're playing against a good football team. You can't make those mistakes. So I think there was a little bit of both.
Willie, after the game, you kind of discouraged Florida players from planting their flag on the field. Do you kind of wish that more of your players were involved in that?
No, I don't. I think when players get involved in that, that's when you have the riots and all that, because they don't necessarily handle it the right way. You know, just told the guy we weren't going to do that today here. You know, so especially right there in the middle of our field on our logo. You can go to your sideline and plant it, but don't do it right there. That's disrespectful, you know, especially right while we were standing right there. So, but no, I didn't necessarily want our players to do that or anything. Just, again, I think it's another teaching moment for everybody.
Coach, you mentioned about evaluating everything, including your staff. With the season now over, are you looking to make potentially any changes on that? And if so, when do you think that might happen?
No, like I said, I'm starting tonight. I'm going to evaluate everything within our program and make sure that we have everything going in the right direction. I think that's so important in when you're trying to change around the program, is making sure all the pieces are in place. Again, having a year here and understanding things a lot better, you can make a better evaluation with some of those things. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to meet with all of our guys next week, all of our players, and evaluate them, and then we're going to make the best decision. Timetable, I can't tell you a timetable when we're going to make anything right now, but we will do what's best for Florida State football.
Coach, coming in, your players talked about, not wanting to be that team to break the streak. Mentally, how do you guys regroup and move forward from that?
Work. We got to go to work. There's nothing we can do about anything that happened now other than work and see to it that we don't feel that way again. And we do that by changing some things up. We can't keep doing the same thing and think we're going to get different results behind it. But again, it goes back to me evaluating our entire football team, our entire program, and putting the right people in place to get it done.
Willie, why was it important just to try to discourage those Florida players from planting that flag? And is that something you tuck away for future reference if things turn around?
Again, this is our school. This is Florida State, and again, you don't do that. So I'm sure we go there. They won't want that done either. So again, it's important, and I want our players to know how important it is to be here at Florida State, and how important it is to have pride for our university and what we do. And it's so important that we all feel that way, not just myself.
Willie, I know at the start of the season, fans they were really excited, had high expectations. I know you did for yourself as well. Just with the way the season ended, a lot of fans disappointed, kind of scratching their heads, like, where do we go from here? What's going on? What would your message be to them?
Well, I tell them to have faith. Again, that's why I was brought here. Is to build this program back to where it belongs. And I understand their disappointment, and I tell all of our fans they should be disappointed. This is Florida State University. And I tell them all, don't ever lose our expectation and what we want. I want them to have that. They should have that. That's how we're going to get back to where we want to be. And it's my job and our coaches and players to live up to those expectations. So I apologize for the season being the way it is, but we're going to get there, and it's not a panic situation. It's a work situation. We're going to work to get there, and we're not going to make any excuses about it. We're going to go get it done.
Coach, when you guys came out in the second half, it seemed like Florida amped up the energy and you guys didn't. Did you feel that way, and just why do you think that is?
Well, I think they amped up the energy when they went down to score. I wouldn't say it was that way when we just came out of the tunnel. I think when they went down that first drive and scored, then they gained a lot of momentum, and that's what happens when you get momentum. It gets going, and again, that was critical. We had gained momentum before the half. And then they came out of halftime and got it back, and that's something we didn't want to happen, and they did. So I think I had a lot to do with it.
Well, you have at least one junior that's probably going to have a decision to make, maybe more. But how do you handle that process with those guys? Do you talk to them after, or have you talked to them along the way?
Like I said, I'm going to meet with all of our players next week, and we sit down and talk about evaluate their evaluation, my evaluation of them, and they let me know what's on their minds. And then when it comes to that, it's just doing what's right for the individual and making sure that he makes the best decision for himself. So again, I'm sure those guys will sit down and talk, and I think it's key that they make really educated decisions, so get all the information they can before they make a decision. And again, being here last year, we had some guys leave early, and that's one thing about here. I think all of our guys can learn from other guys that's been here, and so it's important that we help them learn and help them understand what's going on and help them make an educated decision for themselves. Thanks.